Good morning. How are you today? The sun is great here in Virginia. Hope it's comfortable where you are. The Just Us department added another nail into its credibility with a report after 4 years that they can't figure out who leaked the information involving Comey's reopening of the investigation of Hillary Clinton like 2 weeks before the election. Another part of that same investigation in 2006 about the 2016 election was the fact that Rudy Giuliani, 2 days before the report was made known, he said, "Oh, it's coming in 2 days. You'll be really surprised. It's a really big deal." And then he went on other talk shows suggesting how he knew it from inactive FBI agents whom he represented in New York. And he talked about it on Fox TV and elsewhere. But in the investigation, he said things like, well, I didn't have that information from any active FBI agents. And this is the report that they give us. These guys couldn't find their hindquarters with both hands in a dark room. Or they're corrupt. I vote for corrupt. I don't know how you can investigate this and clumsily come up with such conclusions. Also, it appears during the investigation, the FBI gave false leads to the IG, which begs another question. Why is the IG investigating leaks of an investigation? Why isn't that before a U.S. attorney? Why isn't that before a Department of Justice oversight? That is something independent of the department that wants to clear itself. So the lies continue. And, without taking sides in the Cuomo situation in New York, how do you compare what he did with what these characters were doing all the time, and nothing happens to any of them? And Rudy Giuliani, during the Garland administration, as an IG issue a report that clears him of anything having to do with knowledge, pre-knowledge of what Comey was going to do, which compromised, in my opinion, and contributed to Hillary Clinton's presidential defeat. So there we are. Now, this might be considered small potatoes compared to the fact that now we have a sequence of both calls to the Justice Department by Trump and a letter in the Justice Department seeking to overturn in December of 2020, overturn what the Georgia election found, which was that Trump lost. And then shortly after that, a telephone call from Trump himself to the Secretary of State saying, just give me all the votes plus one. I only need one vote to win. And foreshadowing, only a few days later, the insurrection on the Hill. How is it that nobody is outraged about this? How is it that Garland doesn't have a grand jury investigating this? How is it that we're not going crazy over this stuff? Maybe America can only focus on sex, but it seems to me that the Democrats are so empathetic they have no warrior in them. So that's kind of my reaction. The fury that there are no rules, no sanctions for punishing these people for what they've done tells you there's a hidden story here that we don't know about, and we're not on the inside. We're not getting past the green curtain to see who's pulling the levers here. But plainly, Trump as bully has a lot to do with this. And not just re-elections. There are other things going on. They have a legion of people working this. And we're sitting on our hands when we should be passing election reform. And where we should be sitting on Sinema and Manchin and getting them to do the right thing. In the triage that is political and is legislative, is there any more important issue than preserving the democracy so that the democracy can pass bills having to do with race, racial justice, unemployment, moratoria on evictions? None of those things happen in a Republican administration. None of those things happen in a Republican legislature. And all of those things will only happen if we do nothing to stop the Republicans from stacking the deck, suppressing the vote, allowing legislatures to override what the votes want, to pull out inspectors as they choose, to make it difficult to vote for so many people. So That's a couple of things that's on my mind. We there's another one that really is disturbing in Tennessee. How they've had upheld a rule involving choice that a woman has to go twice, once to be told why she shouldn't have an abortion, and the second time to get the abortion, which is a barrier to actually getting the advice and choosing to have or not have by her choice an abortion. But is there anything more important than voting rights? When you consider that the fact that even this other issue I'm talking about has to do with who's on the court. If we're not careful, for the lifetime of some of us, we're going to live under an autocracy. It's not an exaggeration. And they're going to use briefs to overturn it quietly and force where briefs don't work. And they're already doing it. If you read the letter from the Justice Department that didn't go out to overturn the Georgia election, then you don't know what we're talking about. But in the Georgia election, the Department of Justice was prepared to send a letter saying, you got to look at the irregularities. There's a lot of problems here. And luckily, 2 officers in the Department of Justice didn't allow it to issue. But why didn't the nation know about it? This was a forerunner to what happened on January the 6th. We should have known that. The Department of Justice had a duty to expose what the president was trying to do, which is to fix the election before January the 6th. There were so many signals that the only way this stuff could have been missed was that there was a conspiracy to keep it quiet and to do it secretly. That is a coup. America contemplating a coup? Not since Aaron Burr have we had this kind of language, I think. So, okay, maybe it's not good news, but what it is sunlight, and we have to act upon it. We have to write every one of these members of the House and the Senate and say, get off your duffs and do what you're supposed to do, protect the Republic. You took an oath to do it. The Republicans don't honor theirs. Find some moral courage and do it yourself. Okay, enough of that. Have a good day. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.